Hello, hi. So my name's Fiona, I'm an illustrator and this channel is my place for me to share my sketchbooks, speed paints, general ramblings, thoughts about art, stuff like that. So if that is something that sounds up your street, feel free to subscribe, come hang out with me, you are very welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about adding personality to your art, putting yourself into your art, how to infuse it with yourself and your sparkle and make it really feel like you. It's a topic that I've thought about quite a lot. It's a really hard thing to put into words, it's a hard thing to put your finger on, but I am going to try today. And what I'm going to be talking about is not going to be specific to drawing as well. A lot of the points that I've written I think will also apply to like musicians, poets, stuff like that. So if you're one of those type of artists, please stay, please hang out. I hope this will be useful to you as well. And for the visuals of this video, I'm going to be talking over a digital time-lapse of a drawing I did recently. It was one of those Instagram meet the artist posts, so it's like a little self-portrait and like some stuff about me. And yeah, so you'll get to see in the background my process of how I build up an illustration, how I sketch, how I put things together, how I pick colours. But yeah, what I'm going to be talking about isn't directly related to that, so you know, feel free to sort of treat me as a podcast, have me on in the background, switch tabs, whatever you need to do. But yeah, let's get right into it. Right, so like I was saying, it is something I've thought about a lot over the years, how to make my art feel alive and feel like me. And all that I want is for people to look at my drawings and see the person behind them. I want people to get that this is my lens that I see the world through, if that makes sense. And I do think I have, after lots of years, started to finally get there. But yeah, like I said, it's something that is really hard to define and put into words, but I'm going to try for you here today. So this is my advice for injecting that personality and sparkle and undefinable something into your art. So the first thing I've written down, I've made a little list. Number one is think about what you want to express while you're drawing. So art is a tool for communicating with other people, right? It's not just about looking nice, although it might do anyway. So think about how you want people to feel when they look at what you've done, and if it's possible as well, try to avoid visual cliches as well. So for example, like it might be the known thing that when people are expressing what attraction to a new person feels like, they use the motif of butterflies in the stomach. But instead of drawing that, instead you could think about how that experience feels to you personally and draw that instead. So maybe you don't experience the butterflies, maybe to you it feels like you're flying, or maybe it feels like the colour yellow or something like that. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. It'll be much more interesting, I promise, and that is one of many ways to start really infusing your art with yourself. So number two I've written down is don't focus too hard on your art style. So I know how it feels when you're just starting out, how it feels to see all of these really established artists with their own style and to feel like you need your own straight away, but you really can't force it. It is just going to have to come on its own, and it might take years. In fact, it is something you're probably just going to develop over your entire life. So yeah, it's important to remember that your art style and the message of the art itself are two different things, right? So if we compare drawing to, let's say for example, if we compare drawing to writing a book, right? Your art style is the equivalent of the handwriting style or the font of that book. So like the writer's handwriting, it might be lovely, it might add something to the work, but it's not the reason we love their work, right? It's not the point of the book. So that's how I think of art style, right? It's not your message, it's the tool for communicating the message. So just don't overthink it too much, basically. And number three is figure out your ikigai. If you don't know what I mean by ikigai, it is a Japanese word that means your purpose in life. So if you can imagine a Venn diagram where the circles are something you love, something you're good at, and something the world needs, what sits in the overlapping middle of those circles for you? That's your ikigai. So everyone's answer is going to be different to this. So for some people it's going to be maybe like educating kids, and for some people it's going to be maybe vegan activism or something like that. And for me, I'm not entirely sure I've narrowed it down yet, but I know that I like using my sketchbooks, my travel journals and my art to be a positive space, to celebrate like little bits of beauty in everyday life and occurrences and collect memories. Yeah, to use like positivity and draw people's eyes to the little joyous things in the world. I'm sure that's something that is going to continue to clarify for me over the years. But yeah, if you can put your finger on your core passion, your thing, your ikigai, and just pour it all over your work, it will just be infused with you, with the essence of you from top to bottom. Number 4 is don't be afraid to be vulnerable. You can try, if you try putting yourself into your art truly, like your soul and your passion, it's a very vulnerable thing, but there's no way around it, unfortunately. If you find yourself building walls around yourself and just making art that is superficially pretty, that does kind of protect you. It allows criticism to bounce right off you because you know people aren't really criticizing the real you, but it also means that your art will be kind of lifeless. But if you're authentic, if you show people your soft, squishy centre, yes, you're more vulnerable and maybe people will even be mean, but also maybe you'll connect with someone who is going through the same things as you or who thinks the same way as you, and they won't, feel alone. You'll have connected with them with the art. So you really don't need to mute yourself to appeal to the largest common audience you can find. It really is so much deeper to share something more specific and really relate with a smaller group of people, and it will be so much more authentic. Number 5 is fill your cup. So what I mean by that is just be constantly consuming art, right? Watch animation, play video games, go to art galleries, read comics. Be constantly consuming art that inspires you. Not obviously not with the intention of copying it, but so that when you do come to create, your brain is already submerged in all of this incredibly inspiring stuff. So for me, for example, I love Studio Ghibli animation. And also when I was growing up, Jacqueline Wilson books were my favourite books, and I really, really love the illustration in them, which was done by an artist called Nick Sharratt. And now I've never tried to explicitly rip them off, but when I look at my work, I do sometimes unintentionally find some like Nick Sharratt style eyes in there, or like some Adventure Time wiggly arms, or like a Studio Ghibli kind of hairstyle. And I think that's kind of wonderful because what's happened there is I've taken those references and 1,000 other ones, put them in a blender in my brain, and just put my own filter over the result and come up with something totally new. There's a really great book about this idea called Steal Like an Artist. If you are a creative type person, I totally recommend this book to you. I'm just going to read you a couple quotes from this book right now. Okay, here we go. All creative work builds on what came before. Every new idea is just a mashup or a remix of one or more previous ideas. The artist is a collector. Your job is to collect good ideas. The more good ideas you collect, the more you can choose from to be influenced by. So there you go. I will take a second to add to this point that I don't think mindlessly scrolling through artists on Instagram or Twitter counts towards the whole filling your cup thing. Social media, it has its upsides and it has its uses. I am, on Instagram all the time. But I don't think it's the best way to truly engage with the depths of an artist's work because of the very fast-paced one image after another and another out of context nature of it. I'm not saying don't use it, but I am saying that don't let it be the only way you consume art. Number 6, this is the most annoying one, is just practice. I'm sorry, no one wants to hear it. But yeah, just practice. It is the single most useful piece of advice I can give you. You're only going to find your own creative voice through hours and hours of drawing, seeing what you like, seeing what works, figuring out what feels comfortable and what feels like you. It's only going to be once you've practiced past the point of struggling to make a drawing look like the right thing, once drawing has become second nature to you, that is when creativity just opens up hugely. Once you've gotten past fighting against your own skill level, that's when you're able to communicate and tell stories much more fluidly, and that is when your personality is just going to come across more and more. So fill up loads of sketchbooks or whatever the equivalent thing is in your creative practice. So for illustrators, I'd say draw everyone in your family, draw your dog, draw yourself in the mirror, draw the imaginary outfit you would wear if you lived in some fantasy setting or another. Just get those hours in. And because drawing inherently is those things viewed through your lens as the artist, through your viewpoint, the personality is just going to start coming through whether you like it or not, basically. For example, if you and I both sat next to each other and drew the exact same scene in front of us, we would have two pretty different images at the end of it. And that is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about personality. I'm going to quote the Steal Like an Artist book again here. It's in the act of making things and doing your work that you figure out who you are. Number 7, another thing that you might find helpful is to show a couple different pieces of your artwork to your friends and family, or people who know you really well, and ask them, which of these do you think feels most like me? And if they can give you an answer, you can ask why, and if you can get them to point out things in the art that are you and what it makes them think of, I bet they will say things that you don't expect, and you might find out that your personality is already coming across in ways that you didn't even realise. It's like Dolly Parton says, find out who you are and then do it on purpose. When you can get other people to identify what your thing is in art, your recognisable traits, then all you have to do is lean right into it. It's already there. And sometimes it just takes someone else pointing it out. So for example, someone once said to me, I think this was at college, so there was lots of, everyone's artwork was up on the wall, and someone said to me, I could tell that one was yours straight away because of all the purple in it. And I was like, I guess I do use a lot of purple. And now I've just totally embraced it and made it my thing. So I hope this helped. It's something I'm still working on myself, and some of this advice I do need to keep reminding myself of. If you have any more thoughts, please do continue the conversation in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you'd like to see some more of my doodles, you can check out my channel. I uploaded a great big chatty sketchbook to it last week if you're wanting to chill out with more art chats. And I'm always posting my art on Instagram as well. I'll link that in the description too. Okay, thanks for spending time with me. I will see you in the next video.